The sun is setting on the old world. We're in the process of letting go of everything that we've been seeing from the past. So all the old systems are dying. And as they die, it may be painful and it may be hard to watch. And you don't have to spend that much time doing so. Because what we're doing is leaping into the new. And we're creating it as we go. There's a lot that's been created already. And it's almost like we're going through a portal into something we've never seen or felt before. We're becoming galactic citizens, which means we're going to learn more and more about the galactics and about the ETs and about UFOs. And technology that's been lost to us will come back. And we will learn who we are. We will learn our own magic. And we will learn how to create with it. Because we are magic. And I think that creating our future and knowing that we're doing it is going to change who we are at a fundamental level. Because humanity has been enslaved for so long. And we're changing everything with the magic that's inside of us that we're discovering. We're changing the entire world, our world. And we will build it new. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the things that I have learned from my higher self. So the first thing is that we were in a dome. And this is one of the first big visions that I was given. And I was pulled up through the glass, you can call it, but it was basically sky ice. And I was looking down into the dome and then looking out across. And to me, the earth is a toroidal field, just like everything else. And we've been within an ice wall, within a dome, for thousands of years. So many thousands of years. And this was created as an experiment by a more negative group. And this is what it looked like on the inside. So in the outer ring was where most of the ETs that were fourth density and the controllers lived. And in the inner ring was where we lived, or live. We will be going beyond that first ring, beyond the corral into the outer ring, and then beyond that eventually. And I do actually think that this will be where we see first, what we see first, which is Mount Meru, because there is a portal right there. And this is where reincarnation, basically it was a nice stopping point for souls, but it had to be plugged up because there were some negative things going on. So we didn't have access to Mount Meru for a while. This is the toroidal energetic field that everyone carries. Plants, animals, beings, also every planet has a toroidal field because a planet is a being. So within a planet lives a massive soul. And our planet is no exception to that. Mother Earth is a massive soul. And this is how a toroidal field is formed with the energies. Which within that you can see the real flower of life. And I just love this. So think about your own field and think about the holes that may have happened there and how you want to patch them up. So the earth actually is shaped like this, which is why it looks kind of flat where we're at, but we are not on a flat plane. The entire universe is made of plasma, and everything in it has this kind of energetic field around it. So, this is how we're all built. The heart of us is the strongest part of us. And that's where your toroidal field is generated from. The heart is where the feelings come from. That's where your deep knowledge comes from. That's where your decisions should be made from. So we are changing the fabric of the matrix. We're changing it. We're changing it into something that's good for us, that is in our highest good. So think about how you want your life to look as we go through this process. And here's the ice wall. So this ice wall is melting, and it really doesn't get talked about too much. I haven't heard from anybody that's been to Antarctica recently. Haven't seen them in any documentaries. But there's a picture coming up next, and it was broadcast on a news channel. And it was said that the ice wall sings. So, what is that sound? That sound is a frequency that kept it going. And I think that was disclosure. And it was one of the 3 main news channels. And that's where it came from, that information. So, we will have access to beyond the ice wall. And this is The Truman Show. There's a few movies that I would highly recommend watching, because it will show you so much about what's been going on. We've been in a dome. We've been told who we are, and we're not that. So, remembering who we really are is possible now because the frequencies have changed. This was the Simpsons movie, another one that I would watch, also showing a dome. And take note that these domes were created over a small portion of what we know as Earth. Same thing. They were disclosing that there is so much more to Earth. I wanted to include this hologram of news, because that actually showed up for me. And it was Mr. T, some actors that have been in witness protection, and a couple of ETs that showed up in my vision, along with JFK Jr. So we may have gone out of that timeline at this point, but the hologram has become kind of cracked as well. So the moon is where a lot of things have been controlled by in the past. And there's 2 moons that I talk about. The moon that I'm talking about now, where the controllers have been, is the Anunnaki moon. This is a moon that we don't see. It's a moon where they used it as a depot, and this is what it would look like. So the Anunnaki had a spaceship, and if you want to know more about this, I would watch the movie called Moonfall. And this basically is how they got here. They wanted gold. Back in the Sumerian times, they were here. And the Sumerians got tired, really tired, of mining for gold. This is the luminary that we call the moon. It's been given all the cycles that are actually the Earth's cycles. And this is what we see in the night sky. And it really doesn't, it's not round. We only see one side of it. And the side that we see is a form of map. And I've shown that map many times on Telegram. Here is the Moonfall movie, which I would go and watch, because it gives a lot of true history in this. It's very helpful to see movies and know that you're watching something that was created for disclosure. And some of it is created by dark hats and some by white. This was a white hat movie. And the acting was really bad. So here is the firmament. And I want you to look beyond where he's at. What has he stuck his head into? That is the astral plane. The astral plane is all of everything. It is God. It is source. It is the oneness. It's everything that there is. And it's where we all play. This is Kazakhstan, I think. I can't remember what it's called, but this is a city that was built for the black hats, we'll call them. It's got a very small population of people. And this is also what it looks similar to the Beyond the Ice Wall. So a lot of this, especially these gold buildings, which you can see the little ether collectors for free electricity at the top of these gold buildings. This is basically a lot of what it looks like beyond the ice wall that I've seen with my third eye. So a lot of those things that are out there now are the good things that were there to begin with. There was a lot of this black cube buildings out there, and those have been destroyed. And I also get a lot of the gold buildings have also been destroyed because they were not in the highest good of humanity. So this is Tartaria, which is the civilization that basically suffered in this dome. So they a lot of them went bad, but they were the descendants of the Anunnaki, many of them. So the giants. And the Anunnaki, what they did is they kept splicing DNA with humans and becoming smaller and smaller because they were actually very, very large. And I have a lot of videos on this stuff in the Hidden History series. Tartaria, the most, prominent of the buildings that are in the highest concentration, you will find them in Russia and actually in Scotland. But they're everywhere. They weren't able to get rid of them all. And there's a book that I want to recommend called The One World Tartarians by James W. Lee. And I'll put the link for that below. And that will help with giving you an idea of some of the things that the Tartarians were doing. Because they knew all about cymatics. They knew about healing. And here's a giant. And they knew about the ether. So that's the kind of thing that we're going to see when we go beyond the ice wall. And then beyond where the dome was created, we will see even more magnificent things, really beautiful things. This is a star fort. It's definitely Tartarian. And it was created for energy, to bring in energy, and focus is one of the things that I get. So this was a healthy place to live. And you can see that people are still living there. This one, I believe, is in Portugal. And they did a lot of things with water. They knew that water was also a carrier of energy. It's a great conductor of energy. Obviously, you don't want to be standing in water and touch electricity. So, and this is how the star forts were set up. And this is ancient technology that went right along with cymatics. So there may be some things you want to look up. The Statue of Liberty is also sitting on one of these, which I'll show you in a second. So cymatics is the structure of sound. Everything is energy and frequency. So we create everything with our energy and our frequency. So if you want to be doing something or experiencing something, you want to change your own frequency. So here is the Statue of Liberty, which I never have gotten, came from France. It's always been here. And they talk about it in the book that I mentioned. So that's probably one of the best Tartarian books I can think of. And I bought it right away after I figured out that Tartaria existed. So it's sitting on a star. And it is Roman. And I believe that this was originally male. This statue. And looked slightly different, but you'll see that in the book. So this is the description of it. And it was here before America ever existed as a country. So this is the cymatics again. And we will see a lot of this when we go beyond the ice wall. Because it is an energy collection device. These forms collect energy, or they are a certain energetic frequency. So most of these churches or cathedrals were actually healing centers in the past. And you would go and get tuned. And the huge organs that they had inside of them, those were also for healing, along with the bells. And if you look at this, you realize that there was an amazing civilization before we were here. It's been hidden for so long. So outside the ice wall, there's a lot of this older kind of construction, but it's mixed in with new stuff that's very glass oriented. So they learned how to mold glass with sound, just like the rocks of the pyramids were moved with sound, and the way that a lot of the walls were put together in the past that you can't even fit a piece of paper through were created with sound. Look at that. That is a power plant right there. Look at the top. An amazing amount of energy was coming in. And this is the kind of energy that we're going to be using in the future. It may take us a little while to get to that point. When I tuned into this cathedral, I got that it was extremely old. Older than most of the Tartarian buildings that we see. So it almost looks like it's been slightly melted. This is how we're going to live in the future. Most of where we know will be extremely green. We will have more of a terrarium going on, which we're starting to see now. The weather is changing. And a lot of our houses will be made more of glass. So we'll have a lot of glass. A lot of green. We'll have more of a periwinkle sky, just kind of a purpley blue color. We're going to have fast transportation. The cities will be filled with greenery. Just tremendously beautiful greenery. And flying cars versus driving cars. People will drive for a while on the ground, and some people love it. So the buildings will look more like this. They'll be sculpted, and they'll be built extremely quickly. And serenity is going to be the biggest thing that we experience in the future. Here's another one. I've shown these before, but they're a very good illustration of what we're going to be seeing and how we're going to be living in the future. We will be one with nature, and the things that we build with will not hurt nature. And there's our flying car. I feel like eventually they'll just be little discs, anti-gravity discs, which is actually a magnetic thing, because gravity doesn't really exist. It's actually magnetics. So we're going to learn more and more about our own magic, and I think as we go out there, the mind expansion that will happen will be massive, and we'll realize who we really are, because we're actually consciousness in a body. And the physical is going to catch up more and more with our consciousness. And this is just a perspective. We're about to have the world flipped on its head. So just know that you're fine. Know that this is where we're going. This absolute freedom to be who you really are, to love yourself, to experience nature every day, to know that the learning that you're going to be experiencing will come through you, and you'll know your own magic again. You're going to feel the power of who you really are. And doing will become more fun. We're also going to meet our people again, our soul group. So remember to love yourself through everything that's happening right now. Sending you all so much love.